Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm just going to talk a little bit about our experience of introducing the benchmarks into our academy. So I was one of the 13 schools that was part of the pilot. So we applied to be a pilot. At the time, careers was a little part of my job. Somebody had left and it was kind of given to me. And it wasn't a high priority. It was just something that we had to do. But I wanted to do a lot more with it. So when the benchmarks came along, it really was a fantastic opportunity, and I know you're sort of embarking on this exciting journey that we've been on, and it was an absolutely fantastic journey, and it's completely transformed what we do in careers. It's transformed our students, it's transformed our staff, and it's been absolutely fabulous. Thinking about why we decided to get involved, I just tried to think about the key reasons behind why we decided to apply to be part of the pilot. Going back to what John said earlier about social mobility, I work in a school where very few students have the networks outside of school to be able to talk to people about career pathways, about the opportunities out there. Very few parents who've gone to university, very few parents who have professional jobs. So our students can be quite narrow in the career pathways they think of taking, or even don't want a career pathway. They don't want a career. Okay, so it's up to us to kind of build those networks for them. We did have some strong foundations, so we had some really good links with local businesses. And when we started doing the audit, the first audit we did, I thought we'd do okay because we did a lot of careers things and lots of activities, but I was wrong. We didn't do very well at all on our first audit. So we wanted to develop that provision. And I was in the position where I had careers as a responsibility, but I didn't know what good careers was, what was good provision. I wanted to do a good job, but I just didn't know where to start. So part of it was having the benchmarks as a framework and also being able to share the practice with other people. And I think one of the key things that transformed what we did was the network that we developed with the schools in the pilot. And since the pilot's finished, carrying on those networks and working with other careers leaders and other businesses and the wider stakeholders. John mentioned this as well. We're kind of on the same sheet here. You have to be, as a careers leader, it's a huge job. Okay, so we kind of use the analogy in England, thinking about being kind of the conductor of an orchestra, and you've got all of these people who are relying on you for their careers provision. So it's looking at how you're not there to deliver everything. You're there for the vision and the strategy. And in terms of our academy, I really do have that support from my leadership team. So my principal and my board of governors see careers as a real priority of the academy, and that's helped me drive it forward. So it's kind of making sure that we think of all the stakeholders, and we have transformed how we work with parents, teachers. So again, I was really interested in the textbook idea. Teachers need support to get it into the curriculum as well. So we have kind of worked on that a lot. And it goes back to the need for a whole school approach. It can't just be the careers leader's job because there's not enough hours in the day and they don't have the expertise and all the networks to do it. So it needs to be a whole team approach. So just thinking about kind of the impact, because as John said, it's, we used the framework to work out where we were and work out what we needed to do with the inputs. But the key for us is what impact did the pilot have? There has been a huge cultural shift. So we went from careers being Emma's job, so Emma does careers, give that to Emma, she'll do it, to all of the staff buying into careers. So staff being more involved with local employers in their subject areas, more subjects getting businesses in, more people taking students out to visit businesses, and just making those links between what they're doing in the classroom with the world of work. I wouldn't say that happened overnight, and I wouldn't say it's a completed journey. That cultural shift does take time, but it's using the people who do it and do it well to showcase that and celebrate what's going on, and that ripple effect does take sort of control. As I said at the beginning, I thought we did quite a good job, but it was really ad hoc. We did lots of patches of good careers guidance and good careers activities in different subjects, but not coordinated. So the benchmarks really have helped us to embed it. We've now got a stable programme. We've got that framework to work from in terms of we know what we need to do now. Each and every is really important as well, because we found that it was the same students who were asked to do things, the same students who maybe asked for more careers support, more careers guidance interviews. And the key focus for us has been on each and every, and tracking what we do for each and every student, regardless of their academic ability, regardless of their behaviour, regardless of their special educational needs. So making sure that every student has the same opportunities. Positive destinations. So in England, we are held accountable by our education ministry in terms of where our students end up. So when they leave us, there is a kind of record of where those students go. So our students leave us at 16, and the government report for our academy what percentage of those students are still in education, what percentage have gone into training, what percentage are now unemployed. It is an accountability measure, but for us, it's more to do with the students finding the right place. Our students are now a lot more informed. They know the pathways that are there. They know what opportunities are there. They know the different types of careers. And when you come into school and talk to them, it's not just about where they end up at 16 or 18 or in the future. They can have an informed conversation. They're making informed choices. And none of that would have been possible without having those benchmarks, so that we knew where we were going and we had that guidance. The only thing I would say is that, which John mentioned, is it's not a race to get to 8. So we started at 0, which could be quite downhearted, but it was quite nice, and everybody else started quite low down as well. So if you start at 0, that's not an issue. That's where you are, and it's not a race or a tick box exercise to say we've done benchmark 1, we've done benchmark 2. It's about doing them and doing them well, and doing them in a sustainable way so that you can carry those forward. And it might be you have 8 one year and then something happens because things change, and it might go down to the next year you've got 7 benchmarks, but it's having those frameworks to work towards and continually evaluating what you do. So for us, the pilot was absolutely fantastic, and I'm quite envious that you're just starting on this journey. It's fantastic. Okay, thank you.